Good evening, everyone. Again, I apologize for the last video. I know I was getting ready to start talking about this and I ended up on a resin tangent, so please forgive me. And I'm going to now go on with my story that I originally wanted to talk about. And I'm going to try to keep my videos on the shorter side because I know that my videos can get very long. And I know that a lot of people don't just want to sit and listen for long periods of time. My goal is going to be about 15 minutes. I'm sorry if I go longer than that. But anyway, so I left off with my father leaving and my mother meeting my will-be stepfather, who we're going to refer to as the monster. Because I don't want to give his name because I do not know if he is still living and I don't want to cause any problems. So anyway, this monster would cause my mind and body more torment in my life than I think anybody else in my life ever caused me. And that's including the rapes that I endured. My stepfather never actually sexually molested me except for one time when he I wouldn't say fondled my breast, but he like touched it as I was, growing my breasts. So my therapist says it's sexual abuse. I don't know if it was sexual abuse. He like basically poked it as he was making fun of me. Like, I don't know what to think of it. But other than that, he wasn't like sexual with me. Touch like wise, but he made lots of inappropriate comments and jokes. Anyway, so yeah, I'm about 6 years old when my mom meets the monster. She's still blaming me for the divorce. I'm still the fat, ugly, stupid child. She's still wishing I was dead, that I would run away, that I would get kidnapped. She's moved on to saying that she wished that she had aborted me, that she's going to kill me while I'm sleeping, or, just different things. Like, it escalates and gets worse. Everything she says just gets worse. And then, like I said, she meets the monster. The first day I meet this man, I knew at 6 years old that there was something seriously wrong with this guy. I knew that he was evil. I knew that he was not a nice person. I knew that he was wearing a mask that was so suffocating. I don't know how he didn't pass out. But my mother either was so dumb and blind or just desperate to have somebody that she, for some reason, could not see through this mask of just unbelievable bullcrap. Like, he pretended that he liked my brother and I. He told my mother that he always wanted to be a father, which, by the way, he had his own two biological daughters who hated him, and he wasn't allowed contact with, which should have sent off flags to my mother, but didn't, for some reason. Anyway, so he didn't have any room for another daughter. He did not want a stepdaughter. Absolutely did not want me. He was okay with having a stepson because, he wanted a boy. But even though he abused my brother, it was not nearly as much as what I got. Anyway, the monster would come and go into our lives. Like, he would stay for a long period of time and then he'd go back to his place, I guess. And then, they were doing like a trial situation of him living with us, and then he'd go away and then he'd come back and go away. And every time he was at our house, it was just the abuse was just so much worse. My mother acted up more and riled him up, and then he started abusing me, and like it was just entertainment for them. Like I was literally their entertainment for abusing uh and just being horrible, like absolutely horrible. The things they said to me just still make me sick to my stomach. As I talk about this stuff, I am going to say right now, I'm giving a trigger warning, because the things I'm about to say are hard to hear, let alone hard enough to say. So please forgive me if I cry. This is very hard for me to talk about. Um, I can feel the emotions already. I'm trying not to. Anyway, so they got married. I was probably around 7, maybe. I don't know. I was either at the end of being 6 or towards 7. I don't exactly remember. But once he moved in, just things got so much worse. So much worse. My mother would instigate him to punishing me. Like she would make up lies about things that I had done to that were bad, so that he would spank me. But it wasn't spanking, it was beating. Like seriously beating. And it wasn't just an open hand, it was his belt, it was paddles, it was pretty much anything he could get his hands on. My mom was the same way. Anything within reach was a weapon to be used. I cannot tell you how many wooden spoons were broke over my head or across my face from my mother. The monster didn't really use wooden spoons, but anyway, I got sidetracked, sorry. No, he loved to use his very thick, very heavy belt, which with the buckle, and that really, really hurt, and it would leave bruises and welts and bloody wounds, and made it so painful to sit. And yeah, it was awful. The things he would, okay, so also he was a military man. I don't know what branch. I'm thinking he was Army. I know he was a higher up sergeant. But he also was a drill sergeant. And so the abuse for punishment, when it wasn't just an outright beating, was also like drill sergeant type things. Like, let's see. We would have to like stand in the corner for like hours. Or we would have to stand on our knees for hours in the corner, or we'd have to balance like a book on our heads, and if it fell, then we got, beat. He didn't do those things as much as it was just an outright beating. I think he took more pleasure in the beating than the other things. But there were many times we went to bed without food. We were denied food, or we were made to eat specific food that they knew, especially me. Like I was the one that got the food abuse, and not because I was fat, because I really did not gain weight until I hit puberty at 8 years old. And I will post pictures at some point. But you'll see I was a little on the chubby side towards the end of my 7 year, because I was getting ready to hit puberty at 8. So I was starting to pick up a little bit of chunkiness. And they used that to just maliciously abuse me mentally, verbally, physically. Um, they used food as a torture because they would make things that they knew would make me throw up, and they would make me eat them, and then I would throw up and they would make me eat that too. Like, I literally had to eat my own vomit and the food that they had made that they knew would make me throw up. And they would just sit there and laugh the entire time. I can't tell you how many times they did that. It was so many. I was known as Miss Piggy, Fat Thing, Fat Effer. I don't know if I can say the actual word, but you get the point. I lost my actual name. I was actually just Miss Piggy, Fat Thing, or Fat Effer. That was my name. That's what I was called constantly. I was no longer a person. I no longer had a name. Anyway, sorry. My stepfather's favorite, or the monster, sorry, his most favorite form of abuse to me was telling me in great detail about how he killed people, because he was in the service, so he killed people, and how he would literally torment them to death by gutting them or cutting off their toes and working his way up to their, working his way up their body until they died. And he would tell me that he was going to do that stuff to me. Mind you, I'm 7, 8. This would go on until probably about 13 when I actually left their custody, but I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, so basically the majority of my childhood, I was told every single day, besides the names that I was being called, I was told that he was going to kill me. He was going to do the things that he did to the enemy, which are the people that he killed. And it's so graphic, just absolutely so graphic, the things that he described that he would do to me. Like, just cutting me open and making me play with my own insides until I died. Or he would cut me open and he would pull my insides out and then, like, dance them in front of me until I died. Or he would talk about how he would take me out to the middle of nowhere and kill me and leave me, and nobody would ever find me because nobody cared about a stupid, ugly, fat little girl. And every single meal I ate, well, not every single meal, but almost every single meal I ate, he would just start manically laughing when I was halfway through it. And he would be like, you're gonna die. I finally poisoned you. And you're gonna die. It's gonna be horrible. I can't wait for it to start. And so, I mean, the first several times he did this, I was absolutely terrified. And, like, I swore I was never going to eat again, but I mean, you can't not eat. Like, you've got to eat to survive. And then after so long, it's just like, I almost prayed for it because it's like he would say it so often. It was just like I finally got to a point where I didn't believe it, obviously, because he said it so much and it never happened. But I always had the thought in the back of my head of what happens if he actually did it this time. But I had gotten to the point of like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I hope you did. I hope you did so I can get out of this hell. Like, and then when I didn't react anymore to, horrified about that, it's like he'd get angry about it and he'd just be like, next time I'm definitely going to do it. Like I'm gonna poison you and it's gonna be one of the worst things and you're just gonna like your insides are gonna turn to goo and you're just gonna basically throw up your guts and, just all this stuff. I realize I'm past 15 minutes, but I still have a little bit more to go. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yeah, after all of that, yeah, my mom kept egging him on with different things, which would cause me to be punished and beaten or verbally, mentally, psychologically abused. My mother did her fair share of all of that as well. But right now we're just talking about the monster. We'll talk more about my mother eventually. There's so much more to her. But yeah. I'm trying to think because I want to jump right to the part where he tried to kill me, but I'm trying to think if there's things in between. I know that he would. So his job. Sorry, my neighbor would making a bunch of noise anyway. His job made him go overseas a lot, so there was a lot of time that he wasn't home. What you would think would be, yay, he's not home, so you just have to deal with your mom's abuse. Well, my mom's abuse was enough on its own, believe me. But my mother also had a boyfriend, which we'll get into another topic on him later. Unfortunately, he would sexually molest me. And, yeah, that's another topic for another day. But, so I guess this is where I'm going to end it because the next thing we're going to talk about will be, I guess it's going to be, see, my stepfather went across seas, and this would be where the boyfriend would enter. And then when the monster came back from wherever he was, I know where he was, but I'm not going to say, but overseas, that's when his abuse took a little bit more of a turn of more violent, and that's when he tried to kill me. So we'll get to that part later. So I guess when I pick up again, I will be talking about my mother's boyfriend and the horror of what that entailed. Thank you for listening, and I hope I didn't hurt anybody or cause anybody any triggers or anything. I apologize for crying. I really couldn't help it. Anyway, be safe. Be blessed. Stay well. Stay safe. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. If you have any questions, leave them below. And I will get back to you. I still plan to do a video about my mom, and I'll probably do another video of more of my resin art later on. So anyway, I'll talk to you all later. I love you. Have a great night. Bye.